What's up guys, Chris here from Vo-Gus Prospect. If you're new to the channel, a big warm welcome, and if you're an old moldy hat like the one I'm wearing, welcome back. In this episode of Vo-Gus Prospecting, Mick and I use a long tom setup to check a long-standing theory that we've had, that the flood sands in our area are absolutely chock full of ultrafine micro gold, and we were not disappointed. This is what we got for that one shovel full of sand. Now, it doesn't look like much, but that pan there has 30 pieces of nano gold. They are tiny. And I get why people throw them away. But the thing is, that sand, that was just one shovel, and we can process so many shovels through a high banker because it just falls straight through. 200 buckets is the equivalent of 600 of those pans, and that's where your weight comes from. The more quantity you can move, the better result you're going to have. So I'm going to continue to do a few more samples just to make sure that we're on the money, we know exactly where the gold's sitting and where the best concentration is, because as you go a little bit deeper, this deposit has been here for 14 months after all, the gold gets better, so the pieces get a little bit bigger and more concentrated. There's a layer of old dead grass that sand settled in on top of, and that's what we're really aiming to hit. This has suddenly turned very professional. What is it, Mick?
Digital angles. Degrees, baby. 9 degrees.
9 degrees. I'd hate everyone to get confused that this is a professional outfit. Please, I want to dissuade you from that notion right now. This is all the constituents of our long tom. We don't have a full setup, so we've got to sort of bodge it together and just make it work. You know, the good old Aussie way of doing things. Grizzly, what do you think of our custom-made sluice monstrosity? We've got the assistant branch manager here with us today, and he thinks it's pretty good because the whole thing's level and it's running at about a consistent 8-degree angle the whole way down. We've got several different types of capture systems, so I don't think we're lacking for quality, quantity, or type in this situation. Now I've also dug a tailings channel, so it will channel it down into this big erosion gully before it hits the creek. That way it will filter out over the grass and the rocks and all the other stuff. Now that we've got the monster set up, we're going to start stockpiling pay. The goal is 200 buckets, which seems like a lot, but again, it's only sand, so it's super easy digging and shoveling. One of us is going to process the pay, one of us is going to collect it. So that's what 10 10-litre buckets looks like, or 100 litres of pay sand. And there's practically zero rock in it at all. That's what makes it so easy to dig. And there's 30 bits of gold per shovel, and there's 4 shovels per bucket. So that's 120 bits per bucket. You see where I'm going with this? The numbers get really big quite quickly. So I think the plan is Mick's going to turn the high banker on and start shoveling pay dirt through the bankers, and I'm going to return back to the hole and start collecting more pay. officially has finished doing the 50 buckets or 500 litres of pay dirt, which means that we can let the sluice do a little bit of self-clearing just to get some of the blooms, the lights off, and then we're going to have a look in the mat. We're probably not going to see any gold because of how small it is. What we're really looking for is the heavy indicator minerals and how much we have. We want to see a really good showing of tin and ironstone. But I mean, I wouldn't say no to just a whole riffle full of gold either. Not too shabby. This really dark brown is a rock that I actually hunt for when I look for pay streaks, so it's good to see that. And it's going to be a little bit hard to see heaps of heavies in this particular mat, and with the flat angle that we've got it set on as well, it doesn't self-clear quite as nicely. But you can see some of that ironstone and black sand accumulating just in here in that little pocket, and that's what we're after. I'm seeing the same sort of results through this mat and this mat. Now, it's a little bit hard with the light, but this is absolutely packed full of ironstones. I'm gonna have a quick break because, you know, 50 buckets, even though it's easy digging, with the humidity today, it feels like I've had a sauna. Because the area that we're digging from has a few different layers and they're all kind of sandy, I'm going to take a sample from the hardest, densest layer. This is where I theorize that the gold settled out. It's had 14 months of rain and weather to sink. It won't have sunk far, but it will have sunk a little ways. And that hard packed layer is the first place that it might stop. So let's take a pan from there and see what kind of result we get. Well, here's an interesting one for you. We got two tiny little lonely specks, which is super good news for us because that means it's all in the sand above that layer, which is even easier digging. So we don't need to go down into that layer at all. It's not worth our time. Mick and I have collected and run another 50 buckets, bringing our total to 100 buckets or 1,000 litres or 1 cubic metre of dirt. Can you tell I like numbers? We're taking the sand from a slightly different area. It's about 20 metres away from where we did our original test. The reason we did this is because our test pans indicated there was fine gold there, but that's all conjecture until you know what's in the box. So we'll clean it out and have a look, and if it's no good, we haven't really wasted that much time. It's only been 2 hours and we processed 100 buckets. That's pretty good going. So if it isn't any good, we'll move, and if it is good, we'll keep going. There's this level of paranoia that goes on in your head. You've done the test pans, you've done the mini bulk sample test, you've done all due diligence to know that there is gold in the dirt, but you're still shoveling sand, and that doesn't feel right, and you think you're going to get nothing. But that's not the case. Now, bearing in mind, we only ran sand, and this is from the second sluice clean out. So that is from the second mat. Look at all of that fine gold. So we now know without a shadow of a doubt the top mat's catching 60% of our overall gold. Easily we probably pulled a 0.3-ish in that top mat alone, because that there is, I'm going to guess that'd be about a 0.1 in the pan in the second mat. So there is going to be way more gold sitting in that top mat, and that's the important thing to remember. Cleaning out the second mat is just easier instead of pulling the carpet and all the other sort of crap that goes along with it and washing it. Washing that stuff's annoying. Yeah, that's the boy, Zach. You dig the pay dirt. Now put it in a bucket and bring it over for us. We found a friend. We'll put him back. I got a wet hand. Thank you. Better. So there's not a day that goes by where I don't get comments about why I don't go and find better creeks, because the mustard gold and tiny gold's worthless, and people just throw it away, and it's not worth for sure. I get them every single day. I know that's not true. I know the reality of it, right? But there is one place around here that I like to go. There's videos on it. Every winter we get enough water in Nugget Gully to go and work. We call it Nugget Gully because it's a chunk of gold or nothing. Problem is, no water. We've got a thing in Nugget Gully that if you find a frog, you'll always have a good day. When you find frogs, you end up finding really good gold. That's the biggest frog I've found on a mine site so far. I think we're going to have a good day. We stockpiled 50 buckets. We've run probably about 40 of them, and then since then Mick's added another 36, so our grand total is 186 buckets of pay dirt. Now Mick has been taking some of this pay dirt out from behind this rog. This is the upstream side of the rog, and this is the downstream side. You can see the flood debris up there, and this is going to be working like a sluice riffle. This is why we have these deposits of sand out here. Normally I'd test pan it, but I can't be bothered today. We're just going to literally run that dirt and just see, because it's easier. We turned 2,000 litres of dirt into this. We're going to clean all these sluices out, and we're going to see what kind of gold we actually got for our 2 meters of dirt. There's a double. Ooh. Okay.
I'd check that.
Yeah. Separately?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll wash this sluice down to the second one. So again, second sluice, so we're not expecting huge amounts of gold in here, but we are expecting some. I can already see it ringing the top there, and a fair amount of it. So that's a good indicator that the top mat, hopefully, fingers crossed, has more in it. I'll suck this up and then we'll wash out the bottom two. Mick's just doing the top mats, which take a little bit longer because that's where most of our gold's going to be, so you've got to be kind of slow. And my next job is these two bad boys. I'm not expecting, okay, first of all, I am expecting gold to have been lost. I'm expecting probably a 30% loss, if I'm being honest, but we're trying to catch the vast majority of what is easily catchable, and I think these two are going to have probably the same amount that we got from the gold hog mat combined. This sluice's heavy, man.
Yeah.
I can feel the weight in the mat. There must be a fair amount of old black sand and stuff in there.
Good.
In it. So this was out of the bottom two sluices combined, and that's why you have those bottom ones there. That's not an insignificant amount of gold. Look at that. That is the result from the top sluice box and a really quite large pan. I don't know if you can see the scale next to Mick's hand there. There's going to be a lot more fine gold in that and in the bucket that he panned into. So we're going to go into recovery mode. We'll run through this a couple times to get it all properly cleaned up. All the mats washed out, all the mats put together look like this. Look at that. That is a beautiful little ring of colour. I'd hazard a guess it's going to be under a gram. I'm going to guess maybe 0.7, somewhere around there. We'll find out when we put it on the scales. But the next time someone tells you that mustard gold isn't worth chasing, show them this. because that looks pretty good to me. And it was the easiest digging we have ever done. No rocks, no clay, nothing to worry about. Just shovel sand. Shovel as much sand as you want and you'll collect gold. We could definitely improve on our setups too. We're already thinking about ideas and whatnot on how we can make these things better. That's a future thing. And you learn. As long as you're learning from your mistakes and learning to improve not only your equipment but your techniques, then you're definitely going to be on the right track to success when it comes to gold prospecting. Well, it's been several months since that video was filmed at the height of summer, and now we're in lockdown. And just before lockdown hit, my scales broke, which means I can't weigh the gold for you. But I've got a plan. In a couple of days, I'm picking up some brand new scales, and then I'm going to show you guys how to clean ultra fine gold out of black sand. So that's a future video. Once that happens, I will weigh the gold up from this adventure and I will put it up above so you can come back to this video and either watch that, or obviously when it gets launched, you'll see it anyway. It's amazing just how fine this gold is. It is unbelievably small. There's a lot of gold that you can't physically see without using the jeweler's loupe. It just vaguely looks like a kind of mark on the pan. Once you put the loupe over the top of it, it becomes visible. And this sort of gold is everywhere. It's worldwide. It's almost impossible not to find this kind of gold. But the trick is finding the easiest way to process it, because the quicker you can process the soil that it's in, the more you'll get. And I'm willing to bet still that there's somewhere between 1/2 and 3/4 of a gram in this pan. In fact, the more I pan it, the more gold comes out of it. It's that fine that it gets sucked down with the black sands quite easily. So we're going to use a different method of extracting, including cleanup sluices and panning. Well, I hope you did enjoy my video. If you like this one, chances are you'll like a lot of my other videos on my channel. Subscribing is completely free and it will give you access to tons of gold prospecting content and make sure that you don't miss out on any of the future adventures, just like the way up video that's coming soon. Until next time, give your dog a scratch behind the ear for me, or your girlfriend, or your boyfriend. I'm sure they like scratches behind the ears too. Peace, and I'm out.